Honorable Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the total provision of 467 crores, 87 lakhs, 84,000 under grant number 11, measure head 2045, other taxes and duties on commodities and services at page 75 of budget be reduced to rupee 1. That is the amount of the whole grant of 467 crores, 87 lakhs, 84,000 to stand reduced to rupee 1, sir.
Motion moved. You may now initiate discussion.
Sir, I brought this court motion to draw the attention of the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister in charge power pertaining to several issues, especially in my constituency, sir, and with regard to the implementation of the Saubhagya scheme, sir, in Ribhoi district as a whole, sir. So, from the statement given to unstart question number 7BC, and the statements had been placed in the table of the House, sir, and circulated to all. It appears that a total amount of 228 crores have been spent for the implementation of the Saubhagya scheme in Ribhoi. So, following this statement, sir, the list of villages have also been provided by the department, and at the same time, it gives us an opportunity to oversee the entire implementation of the project, sir, and also how it has benefited the people of the area. Sir, I'd like to draw the attention of the Honourable Minister, sir, considering the list of villages that have been provided under Ribhoi, to village number 124, sir, Boirumbong, Lom Sopeng, code number 278002, where it has been mentioned that 87 number of poles have been erected for the implementation of the scheme, and 87 number of households have been provided with the electrification, sir, and also to Wamantai village, sir, serial number 158, where 12 number of households have been provided with electrification, sir. So I think these figures do not tally with the things that are happening on the ground, sir. There's in Lom Sopeng village and Wamantai village, hardly much activity has been done, sir, on the Saubhagya scheme. Yesterday, I even got the polls counted, sir, and there are many other households also within that village, sir, who have not got electrification till date. So this figure of 87 households being provided with electrification under these two villages is misleading and has not happened on the ground, sir. So I don't know how these figures have come, because we were looking for the Saubhagya schemes to be implemented in these two particular villages, and we were waiting for additional sanction from the MECL so that the activity can be taken up on the ground. And we've been looking forward to the additional sanction, but they never came, sir. And now we only see this physical closure of the scheme, where these number of households have been mentioned that they've been provided with electrification under Saubhagya, which I feel, sir, there is an anomaly in this, and would like to draw the attention of the Honourable Deputy Chief Minister, sir. Sir, second point, sir, the Umyam Block 5 has been a cause of concern for me for under various submissions we have made the point to the government that this particular plot needs to be attended to, because there are more than 70 households that need electrification, and at the same time, the plots need to be leased to the residents of the area as per the decision taken by the MECL. So the electrification has just happened before the session started. So I'm thankful for the poles that were erected immediately before the budget session this year was started. So I'm thankful for the Honourable Deputy Chief Minister for that. But at the same time, sir, the leasing of the plots, which is much required, even though we are seeing that the rates have been asked from the Deputy Commissioner of Ribhoi. In the last session also, sir, I got the same reply, and in the budget session also, I have got the same reply. So 6 months, the same reply. So sir, this sometimes is making a fool of me as a questioner, because the same reply we are getting all the time. So it is not expected, sir, of this House and especially of the government to come up with such kind of excuses that the Deputy Commissioner is still yet to give the rate when the rates have been fixed right from 2020, sir. So an assurance was given by the former Honourable Minister in charge power that these things will be sorted out. But then after 6 months, if the same reply comes, then it becomes a mockery of this August House, sir. So therefore, sir, I would like to draw the attention of the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister to these two issues and request for his attention, sir.
By process.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand to oppose the court motion, sir. So I wanted to bring to knowledge of the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister that is related with my constituency. That is Maukandro Omshing, this village, the road going to Molai bypass road, which the construction is going on till today. Then again, sir, the Maukandro Omshing Block 1, that was in the same village. So this two village, I would like to bring the knowledge of the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister. He need immediate intention from his side as a power minister. For this issue, the last session I already brought into the House, but the government have already been reply that that scheme will be taken up immediately, and people will get eviction in that village. But sir, it is for the information of the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister. Now it is going on for 6 months. People of Maukandro Omshing, that is related with Molai bypass, Maukandro Omshing Block 1, till date they have not been getting of electrification. So I feel for them, because now almost a year, more than 100 households in that particular village, that people till date they have to use temporary for the solar light. You understand, sir, when we use the solar light, like you cannot watch even television. Yes, we cannot charge even the mobile. Difficult for them. They have to charge mobile somewhere nearby of the family, of the own relatives. But the problem here, especially in the night time, people are very scared because there is no light. So my concern for this village, if the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, that I have many villages which have not been electrified, though they have got partly they have already been received. But I feel that this is the top priority, because last 1 month I have already been taken some of the engineers into that particular village, but they told me that it will not be more than 30 to 40 lakh for the total cost for the connection of this village. So if the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, he can take him from his side and make sure that this village will be get electricity at the earliest, that will be very much happy, sir. So I have high regard and hope that Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, he will take care for this request from my side related with my constituency. So with this reward, before I issue my sin, I oppose the commission, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I also rise to support the court motion raised by the honourable member from Kumroy, George Pilingdo, about the state functioning of the power department in the state of Meghalaya. Sir, this power department, the social sector, is very important, sir, because without power in this generation, nothing can be done, and it is indispensable to each and every individual at this moment. Sir, there are so many irregularities, so many alleged anomalies in the power department under MECL, and I would like to highlight and flag few of the pertinent issues to draw the attention of the government on these issues. To start with the Saubhagya scheme. The very objective of this particular scheme is to provide electricity every household across the state. It's an ambitious program embarked upon by the Government of India to provide electricity to every household across the nation, with the slogan of Har Ghar Mein Bijli. But, Mr. Speaker, sir, if you look at the ground zero, it is rather opposite to its objectives. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the last preceding days during question hour, when the question of giving electricity to each and every household in a particular village, the reply from the government was that out of 75 households, only 33 households are being electrified. That means 42 has been left out without being electrified. Sir, why I'm referring to this is just a tip of iceberg, sir. Similarly, there may be lots of such villages, and I hope every member of this August House can also witness in their respective constituencies that electricity, many of the households, the majority of the households are yet to get free electricity and electricity connection. The government has already certified the clause stating that each household of the state has been electrified. And on the queries as to why majority of the households have not yet been electrified, the government is saying that since we have closed the implementation of Saubhagya scheme, the remaining households will be taken care of by the RDSS scheme. Sir, this RDSS scheme is the scheme to system improvement and reduction of AT&C losses, sir. And I don't think that in the next few years also, every household across the state can be electrified in our state. Another very glaring step taken by the MSCL and the government is one-time settlement scheme. One-time settlement, under this scheme, 30% of the total outstanding dues by the industries have been waived. And if you calculate the total outstanding dues by the industries, it becomes becoming hundreds of crores, Mr. Speaker, sir. And even if 30% of this total outstanding dues are being calculated, it is coming near about 200 crores, Mr. Speaker, sir. It's a huge amount, Mr. Speaker, sir. Why this kind of favoritism? Why these kind of financial benefits are being given to the industries who are making profit out of this? The question arises. Rather than doing this, there are lots of poor consumers in the rural areas who are at the mercy of the government, even to pay the bills of the electricity. Rather, the government should have come up with some initiative or embarking upon some program whereby these, our own people, poor consumers, could be given such financial benefits, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is the situation under Power Department, and another case under Barnihat Industrial Associations. Special tariff has been given to the industries under Barnihat Industries Association. Special tariff. And it has been fixed at 4 rupees 90 paisa per unit. Whereas our own consumers, whose consumption is more than 200 units, are paying 6 rupees per unit. I don't understand the logic behind this. And more glaring thing is, there is no fixed charge being fixed to charge from these industries. Even small, our entrepreneurs, like who are running rice mill in the villages, small weldings with the welders, they are giving 120 rupees per kilowatt as fixtures. Whereas these industries who are making profit, huge profit, are not giving any fixtures. So I don't understand why this government has got special feeling, special sympathy for these industries. Another issue, Mr. Speaker, sir. The status of ADB-funded smart metering project is also very shocking. No bills are being generated till now, and most of the smart metering system has been installed in Garhwil's region only, and very few has been installed in Khasils. Whereas the internet connectivity is comparatively much more better in the eastern region of the state. And most of the smart meters that have been installed are not working properly. There is lots of irregularities into this also. The rates of the smart meter, which were approved by the government while supplying the smart meters, has been fixed at very high rate, more than 7,000 rupees, whereas the actual cost is below 4,000 rupees. So there are lots of such irregularities wherein the proper investigation is required, Mr. Speaker, sir. About the Saubhagya, the leaked CAG audit report, which I believe should be correct, speaks volumes of irregularities into this, Mr. Speaker, sir. The under distribution again and transmission, that 132 kV Chibinang Fulbari substation is yet to be commissioned. Whereas this very project was sanctioned in way back in 2012-13. But till now, Mr. Speaker, sir, it has not yet been commissioned. The very objective of sanctioning this substation is to provide quality power supply to the people residing in Rajabala and Fulbari areas, Mr. Speaker, sir. So I would like to know categorically from the government as to why this very substation, which is very, very important, which would be taking care of huge population in that area, will be commissioned and to ensure that quality power supply is provided to the people residing on those areas. Mr. Speaker, sir, instead of increasing the efficiency of the power department, the MECL, the attention of the government is deviating somewhere else. Under the generation company, the MEPGCL, the stage 4 of the Umiar Power Project, that stage 4 unit is out of order since 2019, Mr. Speaker, sir. The capacity of that stage 4 unit is 30 megawatt. And it is out of order since 2019. I had been raising these issues, this very particular issue, for several times. I don't remember how many times I have raised this issue, both inside and outside the House. But to its deaf ear, Mr. Speaker, sir, till now, no concrete step has been taken to rectify it. By not rectifying it, how much losses are being incurred by the company? See, simple calculation, Mr. Speaker, sir. This 30 megawatts capacity of this stage 4 unit, that means even if we calculate 2 rupees per unit, we are losing 60,000 rupees per hour. 60,000 rupees of revenue per hour, Mr. Speaker, sir. If it is 60,000 rupees loss per hour, then in 24 hours, that means in one day, 14 lakhs 40,000, Mr. Speaker, sir. And if you are landing up in losing 14 lakhs 40,000 in one single day, that means 4 crore 32 lakhs in 1 month, Mr. Speaker, sir. For considering that it has been out of order since 2019, 2.5 years, that means 30 months. If in 1 month we are losing revenue loss of 4.32 crore, then in 30 months we are incurring the revenue loss of 129 crores, Mr. Speaker, sir. Is it not a big amount for the state like Meghalaya? So I urge upon the government to rectify it without any delay, pull off the company and increase its efficiency, thereby increasing own generation and in turn increasing the revenue, so that ultimately the MECL can stand on its own feet without being required to resort to be bailed by the government time and again by incurring huge loss from the public exchequer. These are the points that I would like to raise. And very important, one more issue is the 22.5 thermal power project. This government, it has increased the estimate in terms of revision from 356 crore to 507 crores, Mr. Speaker, sir, by increasing 151 crores. Why it was necessary? The stand of the government and its reply is that due to geological surprise, this much escalation was required. What is that geological surprise? On the spot inquiry, we could see that if it would have been the geological surprise, then it should have been underground. The quantum of works which are supposed to be carried out underground was already been completed. The underground construction, the construction of the tunnels, now only the superstructure is being remaining. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, when it has been increased to 507 crores, the per megawatt cost is coming to 22.5 crores, Mr. Speaker, sir. So when the per megawatt or per unit cost is becoming very high, this burden will be passed on to the consumers. This burden will have to be borne by the consumers. It is very serious matter, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, and this very project is the only project, power project, which the people of the region was waiting for as to when it will be completed and commissioned. Because this is the only power project which will be, once it is commissioned, in Garo Hills, Mr. Speaker, sir. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, I urge upon the government to, without delay, rectify the loopholes and come up with certain measures whereby the efficiency of the MSL can be increased and justice can be given to all the consumers across the state of Meghalaya, Mr. Speaker, sir. With this submission, expecting the government to come forward with some positive results and once again supporting this court motion, I resume myself, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to oppose the court motion that was being brought by the honourable member. But however, sir, out of curiosity, I would like to get some clarification with regard to the Saubhagya scheme. Since as per the report that was placed on the table, sir, it was shown that I'll just take the case of my constituency. It is shown that in Mukha village, the total number of household beneficiaries is 167, and in Thangrang village, the total number of household beneficiaries is 299 household, and many more villages, sir. But I want to talk specifically about these two villages, sir. So Mukha village, which is my own village, sir, And as per report that was shown, 167 new household beneficiaries from the Saubhagya scheme. But I was wondering, sir, how could it be when the people till now almost frequently they used to come, they used to approach me, and they were asking for the electric poles or the new connection for the different locality that was there in my village. There are 2 to 3 locality in my village, sir, which are yet to get even electric poles. And that's why I was wondering if I can get, if our village get 167 new household connectivity, that means all of the village will be covered, sir. So I was wondering. And the other village, it's in Thangrain, sir. As per the report that was, as per the statement that was placed on the table, sir, it is shown that 299 household beneficiaries from the Saubhagya scheme. I was wondering how could it be 299 households, sir, when the work is yet to be completed, sir. As of now, electric poles, wire, transformer, they are all lying on the ground, sir. The work is yet to be started. And while looking at this report, we can see that 299 household beneficiaries in Thangrain alone, sir. So this is what I want to get a clarification, and also I would like to urge upon the Minister, sir, to kindly look, especially in this 2 villages, that is Mukhap village and the other one is Thangrain, because as per the statement that was placed on the table, sir, the number of beneficiaries is too high. When ground reality, the work is yet to be started, sir. So that's why, sir, I would like to give some of this suggestion to the Honorable Minister. And with these few words, sir, once again I oppose the court motion and I resume my seat, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. I stand to support the cut motion tabled by Honorable Member from Umbroy. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, our attention is drawn because we are trying to draw the attention of the government pertaining to a very important and critical sector. I have put some unanswered questions also to get the real picture on the situation that is on the ground zero. And people on the ground, the people in the rural areas, I think most of the members of this August House are confronted by the same problem about the disruption of electricity supply and disconnection of the electricity supply. Now, when we are talking about the distribution of power for the consumers are consumers. The MESL and its arms, generation company and distribution company, they are service providers. And they need to take care of the consumers. And the kind of problem being faced by the consumers in the rural areas across the state is alarmingly high. I have these figures. Under Rongjang CNRD block, some of the power supplies have been disconnected since 2015 because of the damage to the transformer. The number of villages, 14 villages, some are since 2015, 2019, 2018, 2020. And we are talking about online classes. We are talking about smart meters. It's almost like putting the cart before the horse. Because most of the areas where smart meters are already installed, in absence of internet, how do they function? So the hurry in which the government has gone, in spite of the caution coming from none other than the employees of the MEECL. Because the government decides to do things which should not be done. And doing things which is not required to be done has become a habit of this government. Because a decision becomes a habit. Because we all are impacted by our own decisions. If I decide to sleep late, then it becomes my habit. So in respect of this government, it has become a habit. Doing things what should not be done. Now, another important aspect of concern is when you're talking about resources, the scarce resources, and the MEECL and its different wings, 3 different wings, when they're bleeding. With impunity, the government decides to agree to escalation in respect of one very small power project, hydel project, that Kanol hydroelectricity project, which is just 22.5 megawatts. We're happy to start this project. And we tried to locate the fund. We located the fund from Ministry of Donor and from RIDF. In fact, RIDF agreed to fund this project because of the attractivity of the project. We're talking about generation by utilizing our own natural resources. How can we imagine that the generation costs can be escalated to an extent that per megawatt generation cost comes to 22.5 crore? And more than that, of course, there are decimals. 22.5 crore. Now, how is the tariff calculated? Tariff will be calculated by the Regulatory Commission based on the cost of generation and passed on to whom? Passed on to the consumers, our beloved people, our poor people. So there are two sins in this particular case. One sin is allowing the escalation, which is completely irregular, and it needs to be investigated. It's nothing but a clear-cut instance of money laundering. Yes, there is no reason why there can be so much escalation from 356 to 507, sudden jump. We were expecting this project to be commissioned even before we learned about the instance of this process of escalation. So I think through you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I would like to urge upon the Deputy CM, for this particular specific case, lest it becomes a precedence and habit in the years to come for any other government. Let a specific inquiry be conducted and actions taken as per the law of the land. To punish anybody if there is an instance of irregularity which we have reasons to believe beyond any reasonable doubt. Now, this is pertaining to saving the precious resources of the government. This is still preventable. So I urge with utmost sincerity, please prevent it. You can still prevent it and save the state from further bleeding. Another sin is that if we don't prevent it, another sin will be allowed to be committed, which will continue the sin upon our own people, because the per unit tariff will be calculated based on this 507. It cannot be 507. I can give in writing. I have gone through the presentation of this project number of times. In fact, 2007, the initial sanction was done. 2008-9, it was kept in cold storage, so there was no award of the contract. Subsequently, we revived it during our time. And fortunately, we could tie up with resources, and we went ahead. It's a beautiful project. But this project should not be, a source of additional burden on our innocent consumers. These consumers will not know how the tariff is increasing, but it will be increased because the aggregate cost of every unit that is purchased by the distribution company from the generation company. The generation company will pass on this burden onto the distribution company, and distribution company will petition on revision of tariff based on all these overhead expenditures, including purchase of power. This is how tariff is calculated and arrived at and notified by the Regulatory Commission. Now, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, is it not therefore necessary, if it is preventable, to prevent it now? Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, another important aspect is that, of course, that was in my start question. I looked at the response of the government, which was because of the demand coming from all corners, from different political parties, pertaining to the need of the government to take cognizance of those concerns of alleged irregularities and alleged instances of scams or corruption, whatever we may call them. Many of the political parties did caution the government, drew the attention of the government, and I remember even gave a written demand signed by none other than the political party who is part and parcel of this coalition government. And on the basis of that, we expected that, since there was an assurance from the government that an independent inquiry will be conducted. But when we look at the terms of reference, it is not specific to those areas of concern where there is an allegation of instances of irregularities and corruption. It is specific to Subhaika and specific to the smart meters. Therefore, I would like to urge upon the government, through you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, that this cut motion has not been tabled just for nothing. It is with an intent to urge upon the government to correct things when it is still possible. Create a sense of deterrence so that future, as I have said, it will not be seen as a kind of a habit adopted by people in power to use government companies, government undertakings as milking cow at the cost of the interests of the state and the people. And another important aspect is to deal with the problem being faced by people across the state. Now, in most of the areas, we see it's very scary. Some of the villages were without power since 2016. In Bolaganj CNRD block, Kasunda since 2020, Sokandu since 2016, and Ramai since 2016. 2016, and we are in 2022. Similar thing. For small amounts, in one of the villages in my constituency, Bolmoram Adungri, the pending liability payable by the consumers is only 14,345. But the electricity supply is disconnected since January. Then in another case, it is 15,000 and disconnected since October last year. No electricity during Christmas, no electricity during the examination time for the children. Now, I understand that many of these villages which are affected by damage to the transformers were compelled to go without electricity because the distribution company is taking time to repair them. The consumers Then afterwards, the consumers are told that, no, you have liability in the village, but everybody doesn't have the liability. Not all the consumers. What about the consumers who are paying regularly? Why don't the system be adopted wherein those who are defaulters, their lines are disconnected, not the electricity supply to the whole village? Can we be so unfair to our people? It is very painful. And it is going to be very difficult job for most of the members of this August House as we come closer to the election. Maybe many of these villages will still remain without electricity because they may not be able to pay. Now, the reason for failure to payment, the untimely, they are not even being furnished with the bills. Only when the transformer is damaged, then they are told you have this much of pending liability unless you pay. Poor people. This is reality everywhere, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Sir, I have the figure of your constituency also. Same thing. We should correct it. This is our job. Let us not subject these people to run from pillar to post. They will come sometimes, if it is before the election, telling us, look, this is what has happened. We are without electricity. Think about the children. And also think about some of the institutions and schools who are so adamant. No, your son has not been able to appear exam, irrespective of what may be the difficulty that the children has been subjected to. See, many aspects are here. Violation of human rights, oppression and suppressions of people's rights, access to education. It's a complex problem. We are fortunate that our people are innocent. They don't want to really take us head on. Otherwise, you cannot imagine what will be the mess. We will be in mess. We are already in mess, but then people are at least patient enough and considerate enough that they are not dragging us to this kind of situation where we all have to answer. If any authority under the government has to answer, is as bad as ourselves answering, ourselves being compelled to answer. So I want that the government take cognizance of this. As far as this disconnecting of electricity supply to the people are concerned, let us not disconnect the electricity supply, but be strict on realization of the electricity bills. Take it up on a regular basis. Issue an instruction. There is a need to pull up our people in the respective arms of MECL. I agree. This problem has been there for a long, long time. But I think there is a need now to really understand the magnitude of problem. Because if you are seeing, since 2015, 2016, 2018, the electricity supplies are disconnected, and because of some defaulters, not all of them are defaulters. We have plenty of issues, but I think this is more pressing. In Songsak Block, Bormarang Angke call since 2019, July month. Asal Mandal since August last year. Kakua Bonegri since 2016, January. And like that, you know. So all these villages in Rongjeng, the electricity disconnection are for very, very long time. Then in this Kalaichar since 2015 under Zigzag Block. I mean, we are fortunate that people have not dragged us to seek the intervention of the judiciary. So let us correct things, let us accept it. It is beyond one's capacity to comprehend as to how people have been able to really tolerate. Since our time, since my government was there till now, we are all responsible. Let us all take responsibility of correcting them. With these few words, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I expect a positive response from the Honorable, from the government through the Deputy Chief Minister. He understands the problem. We often discuss about these problems. And that is precisely why this important department has been given to him. And with this hope and confidence, I would like to resume my seat and support this cut motion, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, at the outset, I am very thankful to the Honorable mover of this cut motion, Mr. George Lungdo, MLA from Umroi constituency, jointly shared by the honorable members, Mr. Piti Saukme, Mr. Senit Sangma, as well as Mr. Nujor Sungo, and the Honorable L.O. Dr. Mukul Sangma. Relating to the style and functioning of Power Department. Sir, I will just go straight away to the points raised by the concerned honorable members with a request, in case if I'm missing out few points, you should not say that I intentionally shy away or neglect the concerns raised by the honorable members, but my team, my officers, has already noted down all these issues for necessary consideration and necessary action too. The point number one raised by the honorable mover, Mr. George Lungdo, is relating to the implementation of Sabakya scheme at Ribhoi district. One is at Wak Mentai, and number two is Soping, where he raised that the statement replied by me in the form of answered question seems to be not actually tally with the ground reality. So these issues, I think similarly it happens to the honorable member, Mr. Nujor Singh Sungo. These issues, since it is similar to each other, I would like to assure the members, in case if there is any instances where the numbers laid on the floor of the house and the actual in the field, if it is not tally, I'll make sure that these issues has to be rectified. That is the point number one, sir. And point number two, relating to Umyam village block 5, I am happy to inform the honorable member from Umroi. Lease agreement is being prepared now, and we are in the final stage, where I think within few weeks from now, execution of lease agreement will be completed as far as this particular Umyam Block 5 is concerned. I had a meeting, and also I called a meeting with the concerned district administration, and ultimately they submitted all the necessary information to the power department through the corporation, and as I mentioned, we are going to execute the lease agreement within few weeks time from now. So relating to the issue raised by Honorable MLA from Maulai, Process Saukme, Maukan relating to extension of electricity to Maukan Umshing. Sir, this issue I will personally take it up, and instruction will be also given to the distribution corporation. Sir, the points raised by the honourable member, Mr. Zinit Sama, relating to the irregularities made or committed by the corporation. I think a few months back, these issues, allegations after allegations, keep coming up almost every day in the newspaper relating to the implementation of Sabagya and also other schemes. Seeing all these issues, in fact, from the government, we had quite a number of meetings, and ultimately we decided that the best way to do is, because we really wanted to make sure that transparency and trust of the people of the state is with the government. So ultimately we decided and we constituted one committee which is known as Independent Inquiry Committee, comprising of the following members. I have already replied during the question hour. Justice Retired R.N. Mishra, Allahabad High Court as chairperson, Shri Manoj Kumar, retired IAS as administrative member, and then Shri Sunil Kumar, retired executive director REC as technical member. Sir, for the information of the honourable members of in this August House, this inquiry committee will submit its report on or before 31st March 2022. So, few issues raised by the honourable members, including the Honourable LO, I would like to say, let us wait till the report is submitted. Because I've seen so many issues you raised, the honourable members raised, but I think let us have a little patience. Let the report comes. But my only assurance to the honourable members of this August House, we are here, and we are here with full sincerity, honesty, to serve the people of the state. And whatever allegation made, but as I've said to you, the sincerity of the government, we have constituted the Independent Inquiry Committee. It's because of that. So let the report comes, and action will be taken accordingly, sir. See, as far as the issue of OTS is concerned, as raised by the honourable member, Mr. Zinit Sama, this OTS, in fact, it is not only for the industrial estate. OTS was also extended to the consumers. That one-time settlement was also extended to the consumers, not only to the industrial estates. So that is for the information of the honourable member. And again, the honourable member did mention about the special tariff for the industries, but let me just again inform the honourable member, the honourable members of this August House, that this special tariff was discontinued in the month of January, 2022. However, I cannot further deliberate on this because I think yesterday or something I've already mentioned, the matter is sub judice, because this association went to the Honorable High Court, and we are waiting for the decision to be taken by the Honorable High Court. Sir, relating to the issue of substation, the issue of substation at Chibanang substation, yes, it is completed. However, the substation 132/33 kV Phulbari grid substation is yet to be connected, because this particular line is being done by the power grid. So I am sure maybe within 1 month from now, the power grid will complete this substation, and thereafter we will make it functional. So, then as far as Umyam stage 4 is concerned, sir, restoration work of unit of stage 4, it's already being taken up, and hopefully within this year, by June or July, it will be completed. And this, the delay happens just because of the pandemic last year and starting from 2020. Therefore, we have a major delay in completing the stage 4 project, as already mentioned by the Honorable Member. The Honorable LO, he has talked a lot about the canal HEP, sir. Though I don't have all the details with me, but the revision takes place not necessarily just because of Mr. A or Mr. B or Mr. C wanted to, but the technical detail examination was done. And even engineers, I think we cannot just overcross their limit of enhancing the estimate just like that. It is being guided by the engineering book, where ultimately enhancement of this project has gone up, sir. And I'm sure this project will be completed at the earliest possible, and it will be again the pride for the state, and it will benefit the citizens of the state once this canal HEP is completed. Saying this, again, I did mention from the very beginning, even canal HEP is under the purview of this independent inquiry committee. In case if the Honorable LO is not happy even with my clarification, but again, as I've already stated, the report of the independent inquiry committee will be in place very soon, so we will be able to see all the facts and even the recommendations we do expect from this particular committee to the power department, to the corporation, as well as to the government as a whole. So, sir, the issues raised by the honourable members, I am sure of course, I could not touch all the points as I've already stated. However, I have noted down all the points raised. Yes, the issues of billing system that we have, as rightly mentioned by the Honorable LO again, sir, I would like to assure the honorable members of this August House, revamping is being undertaken. It takes little more time. And then RDSS is also the guiding force for us, where they would like to see that the billing system, and especially when we deal with the customer, not necessarily just the disconnection is the solution, but we would like to have a mechanism where customer and also the corporation are partnering these issues, this problem that we have. So, sir, I've taken note all these suggestions made by the honorable members, including the honorable LO. So, with these few words, sir, I once again, before I resume my seat, I would like to request the honorable mover of the cut motion to kindly withdraw the motion, sir.
May I know the mine safety mover, whether she would like to withdraw or not?
Mr.
No, I'm asking the mover.
Before the mover decides to withdraw,
There is no more room.
I want some clarification from the reply of the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister. Sir, in his reply, Honorable Deputy Chief Minister referred to the Barnihat Industrials Association that the special tariff has been discontinued in January this year. So I would like to know then what is the new tariff for these industries, and what about the fixtures? And also, since it is sub judice, according to the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, and during the course of the question hour yesterday, he was referring to the case, restart case in the Honorable High Court, that the hearing would be done yesterday. So what is the outcome of that also?
Sir, number one, the outcome of the hearing, I'm not yet known. And then point number two, the tariff that has been discontinued was again, as per the recommendation of the Commission, we have implemented that. Therefore, I said, the association, again, they contested in the court against the recommendation made by the Commission, sir.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, before you ask the sense of the mover, only one point. I am thankful to the Honorable Deputy CM for giving a very clear reply and for the assurance that he has met before this August House. Only one very important part where I think government should have a concrete strategy is pertaining to relieving the consumers from the suffering because of non-payment or because of few defaulters in their respective villages. I think all the villages which are disconnected from electricity because of damage of transformer need to be restored, and let the connection be restored at least for those who have cleared their dues. Let those who are still defaulters, let them be affected. So I think this is how it should be, in the best interest of the consumers, and it is also in sync with the expected line of justice.
Sir, may the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister reply to the additional comments? And then
Yes, sir. I think the suggestion made by the Honorable LO, we are towards this only. We are towards this direction. That's why I've already mentioned that, the corporation, the government and the customers, we need to partner to meet all these challenges. And I've already instructed the corporation. If the transformer get busted at any point of time, you should have a mechanism where at least maximum, maybe 15 days time, then it should be again reinstalled. And by doing this, and relating to that defaulters, yes, sir, we are going to that, where we will target now to each and every customers, each and every household. In case if household number one fail to pay, then we will disconnect that household. Yes. Why should we disconnect the entire population of that particular village, which I think it is not justified, and injustice also has happened. So, sir, I assure the honorable members of this August House, I will rectify and then I'll make sure that now on we will have a very good understanding between the corporation and the customers up to the village level.
Sir, I thank again the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister for the assurances given. There is one village, Tirsha village, sir, Tirsha village and the Burmbong block, which their connection has also been disconnected because of the transformer not being functional for many months. So if they can look into this, and with all those assurances, sir, I withdraw the current motion, sir.